Hello there, welcome once again to Blackpool for the finals of the Embassy World 8-Ball Championships 2001, and we have now arrived at the final of the men's team event. Now, in case you weren't with us earlier, just a reminder of how we got to this stage. Two gripping semi-finals. England, the holders, just shading out South Africa 8-7, and Northern Ireland, a gallant fight from them. They were just shaded 8-7 by Wales, but what two fascinating semi-finals they both turned out to be. That, of course, meant that we were left with a final that looks like this. England, they've won it 6 times out of the last 8, and Wales, who took the title back in 1998. Well, I'm delighted to say that sitting with me here in the studio, right alongside the action, is Emmett Toll, the captain of South Africa. And we can just get a quick reaction from you, Emmett, about this. I mean, it's a big occasion, this, for both teams. It's a great chance for them to show what they can do at the highest level.
Without a doubt, it's the most prestigious event to win the World Championships, and I think both teams are out there to do exactly that. Wales knows that they can win the championships. They've beaten England before. England, the reigning champions, they've got a lot to fight for. They've got to hold their title, and a great team from both sides.
Sure, you put up a very gallant show in the semi-finals, but in the end, I guess it was greater experience that told, and it was your first time at this very high level. You weren't quite there, but you will learn from this.
Without a doubt, we're taking the experience back home with us, and that's the most important thing. To know that we made the semi-finals, it's a great achievement for us, and we will be back next year fighting strong.
I'm sure you will. Let's just take a check on the roll of honour across the years since this tournament began. Confirmation there of England's terrific record in this. Only Australia and Wales have broken the English domination. Australia taking the title in 1996. And Wales, as I said a moment ago, in 1998. But England, the defending champions and red-hot favourites. Right, let's have a look at the team lineup then for this first session. And Emmett, I'll bring you back in for this because these are intriguing matches here. I just wonder which you would pick out as being key. Obviously, everyone is important, but is there one there that you think is more important than the others?
Yeah, well, you've got 2 professionals coming from Wales that are playing against the English professionals, and I think that's going to be the key factor, is if the juniors and the youngsters from Wales can come and take their position in the Welsh team against England.
Yeah, would you go with the feeling generally that England have to be the favourites just because of their record?
Yeah, also the fact being is that they've got more professionals in their team than what Wales have got, and I think Wales, they also lack the experience of professionalism, but they're there. They're knocking on the door, and they can do it.
And they've made themselves heard already, haven't they?
Yeah.
And their supporters. It should be a great atmosphere. Settle back now with us and enjoy what promises to be a great team final. Here with the commentary, Jim White.
Well, David, you've already alluded to the fact that both of these teams here, by virtue of character-building wins. Firstly, Wales, a real tough battle, really, over Northern Ireland. 8-7 scraping home, and obviously England the same over South Africa. But it's Nick Jones right now, all set to break off. He won both of his frames in the semi-final match, and it is absolutely vital for Wales to get off the mark well here against England. They know they're coming into this one as a big underdog, trying to unseat the champion. And Nick Jones will show some animation out there. And fellows, I've got two team captains in here with me, and unfortunately for both of you, you've got the best seat in the house as opposed to being out there playing. But Tony Holgate from Ireland and Mick Delahunty from Australia. This really is a tough go for Wales, let's be fair.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. Wales, really, they've played very well to get here, but England on paper just looks a fraction stronger than they are. Finals are funny things, though. The pressure of team competition. You never know.
Well, Nick Jones at the table for Wales. Played excellent in his semi-final. Probably looked the most solid out the Welsh team, Mick. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he was very, very good, actually. Like I said, he played very well against us in the round-robin event in the qualifying to get to this stage, and just really didn't look like making a mistake. So may have got lucky here, may have picked the gap between the red and the black to get on that yellow down the bottom, Tony. Yeah, there you go.
It's tight, but I think you can just get through.
Gives him a chance of finishing here.
30 seconds.
One thing that will help Wales as Jones progresses here is the fact that it's a shorter race than last year. Last year they were racing to 11, this year 8. So anytime it's shorter, luck can play a little bigger role.
With that, the fact, Jim, that England probably bat down the line a little bit further than most of the other teams in the competition. Therefore, the shorter the competition, the more chance you are of getting them, I think. The longer it goes, the more chance their experience will come in and beat you. So, yeah, the best of 15 Wales are certainly going to give them a run for their money, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mick, added pressure on this finish, because you've got the world champion sat in the seat. Knowing full well, if you miss, he's going to eat the Reds alive. Jason Twist over there.
Yeah, but meanwhile, you hit it right on the head, Tony. The world champion sat in his seat.
Got to give this boy credit. He hasn't looked like missing yet. Semi-final as well, as you said, Jimmy. Was very, very good.
30 seconds.
That's perfect. He's just got to knock this in, feather the cue ball into the center of the table, leave the yellow bottom left. And what a start this for Nick Jones. He's already eyeing up exactly how he wants to proceed. And there's little Jack, 21 months old. He is the Welsh mascot.
Well, Nick Jones, he's got to be perfect here with his cue ball position, because if he gets the wrong angle, he's going to find it tough to get on the 8 ball.
That's perfect. Straight through. What a start from Jones.
Well, this is the start Wales needed if they're ever going to topple a side like England. I know they've done it before in the past, and I don't know if history can repeat itself, but this is a much needed effort from Nick Jones, and what a great shot.
It's been very impressive, hasn't he?
How about that? A breaking out to open things up here in the men's team final. And look at Wales. They'll be very verbal, and they will know how to handle success this side. 1-0 Wales over England.
Second frame, England to break.
So Mick Hill from England now, trying to respond to what Wales has just thrown at them. Representing England, breaking off here, great young player. The youngest player on the England team, 21 years of age. And this isn't going to be easy, even though a ball potted off the break. Another look at it here.
I think the England players will just be happy they've got to the table.
Well, the yellows aren't bad, Jim. As you say, they're not easy. He needs to get an angle on one of the ones near the black to just open the other two up. But he's got a yellow straight up to the top, or the one he's closest to into the middle.
30 seconds.
Well, the reigning world champion failed to get out of his chair other than to offer congratulations in the opening frame. And what a start, as I said, from Wales to put him on the sidelines.
Well, he's choosing reds here. Black becomes his hardest ball now, of course.
You know, I think what Mick's planning to do is to put this one in the bottom right hand corner, and you've got two reds sat next to each other in the middle of the table there, or just slightly to the left hand side. Once you get an angle on one of those, just to come down and nudge the 8 ball into the open.
Well, bad hit that one from Mick Hill. And that's a testament, if nothing else, to the pressure that's out there. And this is the sort of thing that Wales has to capitalize on. That was a bad miss from him.
Well, I think as Tony said, he probably should have taken the red down the bottom, Tony, and got on those two in the middle.
Well, I think he wanted to get rid of his hard ball first, and then he was going to do that, but looked a bit edgy to me, Mick, anyway.
If you have a look at those yellows, they're not bad here. It's just a matter of opening the couple up near the side cushion, and geez, a real chance again. Wouldn't this be a start for Wales?
I'm not so sure Neil Blake will go for these. Might like to play a safety in a second.
Well, happy to see that white slither past the red.
Seem to get down very quickly and just fire at that yellow.
Unless the yellow closest to the black is on, I don't think he's got a shot here.
Well, there's
is
certainly,
just-
it looks available, Mick.
Yeah, it does, Jim. Just maybe you can pot that, go back past the black, get on the yellow closest to the one I'm talking about, and then have a chance of opening the other two up for the pocket.
It looks like he's going to be pushing the black over towards that red bottom right. Going to want to be careful there, too.
Yeah, as Tony alluded to, he looks like he's going to play a safety here.
Well, that's not the greatest shot in the world. I mean, he's going to play a safety. Might as well play one of the four reds down in the bottom left-hand corner, cover that pocket, and maybe even got a snooker.
Well, that yellow was already out in the middle of the table. It's for sure he's put it close to a hole, but he's still got the same problem over the left-hand side. He's still got those four yellows together, and they're not exactly... They don't...
Well, Mick Hill's
reach
going to
out.
play the double across now. Mickey's going to try and cover the pocket where all the yellows are. And Neil Blake's just given the opportunity to do it.
And it's a good shot.
I'll tell you what, how's that? Neil Blake could have ruined the moment he didn't go down into that bottom left-hand corner, because now Mick Hill is in control of the frame, and doesn't he look a little bit happier?
As you said, Jim, Wales have got to take every chance here, I think.
The team championships added pressure. This isn't like singles play.
30 seconds.
And you have to have competed in a team event to be able to appreciate it. And again, I'm not quite sure that was as planned.
Oh, it's unbelievable. The last two shots that Neil Blake's played have been terrible.
Left him on the bad red, or on the two reds in the middle as well.
Yeah, but does the 8-ball go past the yellows?
I don't
It
think
looks
so.
a bit tight.
Yeah, but it's very close. He nearly opened it up. You're right. He nearly made this very easy, Tony.
Yeah, but you could pop one of the reds into the centre now, Mick.
Yep.
Leave an angle on the other red, and then come down and move the 8 anyway.
As you can see there, the black's not quite on, but gee, it's not going to take much for him to develop it.
Seconds.
Got to be looking to go game, Mick Hill. It's really going to gain no advantage by just tapping the reds around the table.
Well, the balls are there, aren't they? This one into the middle. As you said, try and get an angle. He hasn't got it.
Yeah, he just came across too much. I'm sure that's what he was trying.
Just to find an angle on one of these reds, just to nudge that black out. He may choose just to play the red over the whole last and put the black in the middle, Tony. That's an option as well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be easy, but a player of his calibre.
Well, there's one thing. I was talking to Mick Hill yesterday, and I was very impressed by the knowledge that he has for such a young player. He really does have a good understanding of this game. And you can bet that good chance if we can see it out there, he can as well.
Well, he's tried to cover the pocket.
Yeah, he's certainly chosen to play a safety. Should be surprising.
He just didn't like the area that he landed in.
Yeah.
He feels that he's going to come back to the table.
And the black was certainly... He certainly chose to not pot that, I think, Tony, just to put it over the hole.
Well, definitely, there's no way in the world you can miss a ball by that much. That's a definite safety.
He's just waiting for another opportunity to open that black up, I think.
Neil Blake's options are considerably more limited now than they were a few shots ago. That won't do him any harm, though.
Second prize, but Mick Hill, I think you'll see him just bump the red ball back out into the open again.
He's still in the same position.
She's going to come off the... Oh, he's playing the double down the bottom of the table.
Well,
I'm not sure that was the right shot, to be honest. I think he could have just kicked that red out and just kept Neil Blake under the whip, Mick.
I believe you should always open up your bad ball if you're in front. an option here. He's not going to do it. Pot the red. It's his great option, this. Really good shot, that. He was in strife. He's given 2 shots. The black's not on. And he hasn't allowed him to pot the ball over the top hole. So he's still got a bad red because he didn't open up that yellow ball from it, Tony. As you said, very good option. Giving himself a chance of winning this frame.
It's all about tactics and understanding when to commit a foul at times and when to cover pockets.
Well, he picked that up very quickly. I was just looking at it before he played the shot, and I was thinking maybe he could pot that, but he was down and played it very quickly. So
I wonder if Mikel's trying to get the red back over again by those yellows. How would you fancy that for a shot?
unbelievable.
Well, this is an incredible shot.
That is unbelievably good shot. Now, is he on this red? Yes, he is. I think he's not. Just got to pot it, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Suck
think
back
he
a bit.
really. I don't think he wants to pot it though, does he?
Well, I think he has to. The black's not on. I think he has to. Needs 2 shots on the black. He's just worried about snookering himself here. He's going to stun back, I think.
I think he's going to give this some stick. Yeah. I'll tell you what. He's had a right good result there, Mick. He's missed the part. The red's come out, hit the yellows, knocks the black right nearly over the pocket. And look where the red's finished. Incredible result.
I mean, that red could have hit both jaws and gone up the cushion and not
Could have
touched
gone
the
anywhere,
yellows.
Mick, couldn't
Yeah.
it? Let's be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a big result for England, this. Neil's played a very good shot and got a fraction unlucky with it.
Stretching out and got to try and draw that cue ball back. And what about that? This 8 to bring the scoreline to 1-1. And down it goes. 1-1 courtesy of Mick Hill. A brave shot from Neil Blake falls just short. Mick Hill squares it up for England against Wales. As dominant as England has been, they have a lot of youth. And Warren Hodgson, one of the younger players, and again experienced on the Welsh team, played very well in the semi-final match against Northern Ireland. A good look at the break off here from Warren,
Not that powerful a break, was it, Jim?
but successful nevertheless.
And the reds look very good here. Doesn't seem to be a problem ball. Hardest ball might be the black. I can't see whether it goes in either of the bottom corners. And you can see there it is just on into the corner, right-hand corner pocket.
Drive a bus through there, Mick.
Just depends who's at the wheel. I was very impressed when Warren came out against Northern Ireland. He looked very cool and calm, focused. I remember seeing him in past years playing here, so the experience has certainly put him in good stead.
One good positional shot here, Jim, and this should be all over. Back into the middle of the table, give himself the option of all 3 of those bottom reds.
It's a best of 15, lest we forget. The first team to win 8 frames.
Warren Hodgson now has attained great position. If you could pick up the white and put it down with your hand, that's where you put it.
Certainly a good shot. He's got all 3 reds going to the bottom holes available at this stage. He can choose to take whichever one he feels is the best positional wise.
Seconds.
Just looking at all the options. Tell you what, sometimes you can be sat there and you're spoiled for choice. You don't know which one to
Yeah.
take. Can't make your mind up.
No question. He's taken probably the best one. Go back to the position where he is now. The red goes in the middle. That's a good shot too.
Already confirmation, the 8 available. Oh, this would be some feat, though, for Wales if they could come out taking 2 of the opening 3 against 2 of England's better players, Jason Twist and Chris Melling. You would have to think it puts them in good stead, but Mick, something you alluded to a little earlier on in this telecast, that England just keeps coming at you. It isn't like they have any weak links. Some are good, some are very good. And that could be a mistake. Now, has he finished on that red? If he has, he can count himself
He's on
lucky.
it, Jim. He's on it.
I think he's very lucky, Jim. I think you're dead right. I believe the shot before, he played the ball into the bottom corner. He should have been coming back out in the middle of the table again. He made it a bit hard for himself having to take that ball. He should have been playing the ball he just potted last for an easy black in the corner. But as you said, Jim, you really just can't make too many blues against England because they bat a long way down the line.
Well, he's got to make sure he gets a cue ball high enough up the table to get onto the 8 ball. Just about done it. I think he can roll this red in and maybe cannon the cue ball into the yellow on the right-hand side and just hold for the 8 into the bottom left-hand corner.
Is the black on in the bottom left-hand corner? We saw it on the right earlier. It's on the left as well.
It is just, Mick.
It's on
Bottom
in this
right,
corner.
obviously available.
The other corners, oh, it's obviously on. He wouldn't have played that shot. You can probably drive a bus in the other shot in the other side as well, Tony.
No, just a minibus this time.
A sparkling performance from the Welsh side. Warren Hodgson not allowing Chris Melling a look in. 2-1 to Team Wales. And are they happy about that result?
Fourth frame, England's break, trying 2 frames to 1.
It's down to Lee Kendall now, the captain for the English side, breaking off frame 4 of a possible 15. Wales has really let England know that they're going to be in for the long haul in this battle. Kendall successful off the break, as we see again. Huge visit, this one from Kendall.
We'll be looking at the yellows. There's a couple of tricky ones there on the cushions.
30 seconds.
You're correct, Tony. He has nominated yellows.
He has to pop one though first to be on them. As you can see, there's 7 yellows up and only 6 reds. If he'd have nominated the reds, he'd have automatically been on them because there's a ball being pocketed. But this is pretty easy part they're making. He's going up to the long pot. Good solid shot from Kendall.
Yellow ball's in play.
Yellow's obviously looking slight favorite here. The one dodgy one, I'd have to think, on the right-hand side. Just above the center of the table.
There's also another one further down that's on that cushion as well. Could still end up being quite tricky.
He's playing this in the corner pocket. Maybe left a gap.
Strange shot selection there from Kendall. Well, he's happy at the result, the cover, but can't see why he didn't go down the table, can you? Take one of the other balls.
It's very surprising, there's no question of that. And as I said, he had left a gap. And that's certainly a result for Craig.
Well, he tried to pot that red off the yellow into the corner. He missed the pot, but he managed to get Lee Kendall's red out of the bag.
Not only did he get out of the bag, but the red that he's knocked over the other side has covered that yellow on the right-hand cushion. So all of a sudden there's no out here for Lee.
Yeah, he was a bit fortunate.
Very surprising, more so in this game than
30 seconds.
any of the other billiard disciplines. One bad shot selection and the whole frame can turn around, and it's very noticeable.
Looks like Lee's got this in the centre. What a great shot from Kendall. Where did he pluck that one out of, Mick?
Great shot. Well, he didn't have much choice. He had to move it, so he decided to go the cross double, and he's played it beautifully. I think he might take this another double on here. No.
Well, this is what we thought he'd go right at the start of the frame down here.
Well, that's right. We couldn't believe he wasn't going. But
Well, I think his only shot is to thin cut the yellow right just beneath the cue ball.
can he hold the white up for the yellow closest, the other yellow close to him, to put it back in the same hole, Tony?
I think he can. He's lucky he's a left-hander. Because if he's a right-hander, he'll have the rest out the spider the lot.
He's played it beautifully.
Big opportunity now from Kendall. By virtue of one good pot, very reminiscent to Mick Hill when Mick Hill pulled out that very good double to take England's first frame. Well, so too Lee Kendall.
And there's the yellow you alluded to, Jim, earlier in the frame. It's the one hardest one. It's certainly expect him to pot it, but it's not an easy shot.
I think he played on it there, Mick, and didn't get on it quite as well as he would have liked. So this is the big one here.
Like I said, you'd expect him to pot it, but it's certainly a missable shot.
It's a great shot from Kendall. And just look at the position he's gained on his last yellow. Bringing the cue ball down in a minute. So we see the ball go down the rail. That's superb shooting. He's going to bring the cue ball down to the bottom of the table and have the 8 ball into the right-hand centre.
Not bad. Could have used another 12 inches. Little concern from England, but once this disappears, they'll be a lot happier. And down it goes. England back on track. They have taken turns swapping the first 4 frames here. Wales 2, England 2.
Fifth frame.
Young Ryan John, 18 years of age. The youngest player ever to represent Wales. Left-handed, and a tall order for him. And under the scrutiny of the television cameras, white ball straight into the corner pocket. And that one had to hurt.
Here we see Ryan John's break again, and the topspin on the cue ball, taking it straight into the bottom left-hand corner. Ryan John was the player that Wales actually dropped for the second session against Northern Ireland.
Bit surprising, Tony, was it to you?
Well, I thought he was one of their better performers in the group stages, and okay, he did miss a ball against Northern Ireland, but they took him straight out, but whacked him back in against England in the big one. But unfortunately for Ryan, he might not get to the table again.
Red ball's in play.
Well, it is team play, and every member an important clog in the wheel. And Phil Harrison is as good and solid a player as anyone on the English side. They just have no weak links. And therein, I think, is the reason for their success over the years. No other side has been able to put out 8 players the quality of England.
30 seconds.
Now it looks as though he may have to develop that 8 in the center of the table. But all remaining 5 reds, easily attainable. Well, he could elect to do it here. He's got angle on the 1 red outside. But he could take that cue ball straight into the black here. Just depends how he feels about it. No, he's taking the one inside of the 2. And now the nice angle on the red. And I feel he has to take that cue ball into the 8 here, guys, to have any chance.
Definitely, Jim. And Philly's a very good, solid performer. actually had to re-qualify for the England national side earlier this season. They retain 7 players each year, England, out of their 8-man squad, and they send one back to go through all the qualifiers all over again. That man got sent back.
Well, a testament to the strength of their side, too, is
30 seconds.
for the first year, I think we're not seeing Daz Ward, former world champion. Kevin Wright, another former world champion.
Phil Harrison actually beat Daz Ward in the last playoff to get back on. It was those two, and it went down to the last frame as well.
Well, he's flicked open that 8-ball now. And this red available. So this looks pretty straightforward, just off the side cushion and back for the red, the opposite corner. But he needs that to go in.
I'll tell you
And
what,
he
he's
is
overhit
overhit.
it.
Well, he just about missed the red, and I think that's what caused the lost white ball there, Tony.
Too thin a contact, Jim. You're exactly right. He's given himself a bit more work than he needed to.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have a look at this. This was an accident looking for a place to happen.
He nearly got lucky. The red nearly set over the hole.
Well, in the end result, he probably wishes it would have, Mick, but neither one of these intended. And simply because these reds weren't going into the pocket cleanly, the white wasn't going into the area that Phil intended. And what a let off here for Ryan John.
30
Look at some of the concern on the England players' faces. Now you see Lee Kendall, the captain, Chris Melling next to him, discussing what Phil Harrison's just done.
Well, he's got to fluke this, basically, doesn't he? Got to hit it as hard as he can and hope like hell. I know he'd be going for a pocket up the top.
No, he's
Just played a safety.
not a bad shot.
It's a reasonable shot, but gee, there's plenty of options up the other end for snookers.
Ryan John, though, he's having a shot that he really had no right to have.
No question of that. He's got to be pretty happy to be at the table at all.
He should have been back at the other side of the arena, sat with his teammates, sulking.
You're right about one thing, though. It's a reasonable shot from Phil. He hasn't left any easy... hasn't let him hit any of the balls up the other end. He has to play off one of these two and get behind them. What do
He's
you
got
think?
a little wall of yellows up at the far end. Either way, though, he's got to make sure not to leave a gap. You can see there's a lot of spacing between those yellows up there.
Could play off the yellow closest to the black here. Just a little skinny nick and try and leave the white right up the top cushion behind the middle yellow. Yeah, right there. Fraction hard.
He's left him a chance.
Left him on it.
And there you see.
And this is all Phil
plenty
could
of room
ask
to come
for, but
through.
this is far from easy.
It's true. The difference between England and most, they normally get these sort of balls.
Well, he nearly missed his 2 reds previous to this.
What a shot from Phil Harrison there. A tremendous pot on the 8 with all look lost. And look at the English side for the first time. They have their noses in front. 3-2 over Wales.
8 frames, England to break, leading 5 frames to 2.
We're at the Hilton Hotel in Blackpool for this year's 2001 Embassy World Pool Championships. This, the team final between Wales and England. England 9-8 winners over South Africa in the semis. Wales, 8-7 winners, and Wales 8-7 winners over Northern Ireland in their semifinal. And Darren Appleton at the table breaks off.
A lot of power in Appleton's break. I think the main concern is where the 8 ball's finished.
Appleton, yet another solid performer, a former European professional title winner.
I think Appleton, he'd want to take the reds, but he must pot one to be on them. And I can't see an easy one. And the only reason that is because the 8 ball sat right in front of that yellow left-hand side of the table. You don't want to be on the yellows.
You really have to take your hats off to England, though, guys. The way that Wales started out, winning the first frame, leading 2-1 after 3. Wales was under pressure. They had put England under pressure, and obviously England responding, but not with shots like that from Darren Appleton.
Right, it's an open table. Carl Alexander. Here you see Darren Upton's miss. He tried to really force this one in the pocket, but Carl Alexander now has a choice of colour.
As you said, Jim, every time England have been to the table, they've won the frame. The two they lost were two great outs off the break by the two Welshmen, first and third. So the English certainly seem to be a little bit more stable with their just with their nerves and the way they're carrying themselves around the table.
Well, this is Carl Alexander from Wales, and he is their captain. He's not potted the red either.
It's a bad shot from Carl. He knows it. When players of Darren Upton's stature give you chances, you've got to take them. It's still an open table for Darren Upton. Wales not capitalising on his mistake. So he's going to have another go at reds, Jim.
He's looking up the table.
30 seconds.
It's off for another long putt. Didn't try and force that one in. Just made sure that he's on the reds.
It's a lot better shot.
Now he's going to come down as a red at the bottom of the table. He wants to dislodge the right hand by the right hand pocket. He's going to play another red into it.
A little bit of safety there. Just moved both yellows and
Well, he's
opened up
just
the red.
opening them up, yeah, developing them. Now all the problem is the 8 ball.
Correct, and he's got a couple of reds in the middle of the table there that I'm sure he'll be able to use to knock it out with at some stage or another.
Carl Morris with the yellow into the center pocket here if he chooses to attack. Or sorry, Carl Alexander. You got so many Carls and Keiths out there.
I think he has to be looking at covering the black here at some stage or another, Tony.
He does have a gap over that bottom right too, Mick. If he does elect to try and get a yellow in there, I don't know whether he can get through to that one. But the bottom right corner, where the two reds are, there's a little gap in there.
I'm sure he's on it, but he's over ball, over the top of the other yellow, which makes it a much more difficult shot. I think at this stage you'll probably cut the one on the left-hand cushion. He's having a look at the one he's closest to as well, see if it'll go up over that top hole and cover that red. Not a bad option.
Either way, he's got to buy himself a little insurance.
Correct. Yeah, he has to cover a hole somewhere. This isn't a bad option, just as long as you play it well. If you're able to get it off the top jaw and back in front of the red ball. It's a bit wide. Not bad shot.
You might see Darren now choose to try and cover the bottom left-hand corner where the 8 ball is.
Now, Darren doesn't normally fancy a tactical style of play, Tony, but having said that, how does he fare when it's forced upon him?
He can play the tactics. He doesn't know how to. Maybe just chooses not to because he's the type of player that likes to get on with it and get amongst the balls and bang them in.
Well, I'm sure if the red up the top wasn't covered here, he'd be playing this off the black and having a go, Tony. But I don't really think he can do that under the circumstances. He can only just put it over the hole again.
He's left that one short. Now, Carl Alexander could possibly cover that bottom left-hand corner, be in a great position. Could put the one in the centre of the table in the right-hand middle, bring the cue ball down, and there's a yellow available to go over there.
The real thing here about Carl, the position of Carl's balls, the yellow balls, is that he has the attacking option, right? Because of the safe reds up the top. I was thinking even more attacking. I was thinking if he could have got on the yellow just up from the black, not the one straight behind it, the next one, he could have just snicked it off the black, off the red, opened the bad yellow and been out of here. But where the whites landed, it's made it very difficult to do that.
Carl Alexander had a little smile a minute ago. he ever hit that shot, but he's landed on one at the bottom of the table.
30 seconds.
And if you put it right over the hole, he just plays the red onto it, and then he's got total coverage. You're in strike then.
No whirlwind finishes here, though, for either player.
What a brilliant shot.
That's the first shot you alluded to, Tony, and that's the way it's ended up. It's a great shot.
Well, it's an important shot as well, because at the end of the day, Wales must, I feel, win this frame if they're going to have any chance at all of winning the final.
Yeah, it's a big difference between being 6-2 behind and 5-3. 5-3, you're right back in it. 6-2, you virtually have to win the rest of them 6-1 to win the match, and I don't think any team could beat England 6-1.
Not only that, when he put the yellow over the hole, Tony, very hard to play the red on top onto it to give 2 visits and actually get the red to follow through over the hole. So
That's right, it'll just stay there, won't it?
yeah, it's a pretty good shot.
Seconds.
His options very limited. It seems like he's covered 2 of the pockets, and obviously the reds, nothing with which to attack.
Timeout.
Carl Alexander has just asked for a timeout just to buy himself a couple more seconds. Now he's going to get the 8 in the open a bit.
It's not a bad option, this.
Just hit the cushion head of cue. Well, that was close. Of course, when you don't pot a ball, when you play when your ball's after contact, a ball must strike a cushion. The only time that doesn't apply is if you're in what's called a total snooker. And obviously Carl wasn't snookered at all. So just went a little risk.
Seconds.
Silence fell over the crowd.
Foul.
He's played the foul.
Now, what he wouldn't want to happen here is this to be touching ball on the yellow, because then Carl would be deemed to have already hit the yellow, and he could fire into the reds up the top and play the red onto the yellow and still keep his 2 visits.
Interesting. But you can see the gap between cue ball and yellow there, and
Obviously, that option's not available then. I'll think of something else if I can.
or if either one of them can, Mick, this is one of those frames every now and then that jump up and grab you by the neck.
Just one little mistake.
Second visit.
It's a reasonable shot. I think he just has to develop this yellow that's close to the hole up the top, where the 2 reds are on the top left. Yeah. If he can just double kiss that, maybe it even goes in. If he can keep on the yellow down to the bottom right, he's some chance of finishing here. Must play that yellow so it's available next time though.
He's looking at it a few times, Mick.
This is where playing the right shot is just so vital, Jim.
And you'd love to be able to jump into their minds right now and just try and understand what it is they're thinking at this situation, because it does look so confusing.
Well, it's so much less pressure on us, of course.
Well, not a bad shot, but it hasn't matured his situation at all.
We still needed to be on the yellow I just talked about.
He's
Jim.
on his last visit, remember.
Yeah. He can play this yellow onto the other one, but he'll no longer, I can't see it following right through and covering the hole, so he's going to leave a gap. And if the yellow up the top left is not on, if he can't pot it, then all he's doing is making the position more advantageous for Darren.
30 seconds.
Well, Alexander really in a more favorable position here than is Darren Appleton. Well, the Welsh side applauding that shot, but again, the problem yellow at the top end of the table.
It may be on, Jim. He may be able to pot it right now. Certainly he's got about the best spot on the table now, as you can see.
I don't know, might just scrape off the jaw, Mick.
But getting then getting position, you must use a little bit of bottom to get back out in the next yellow, Tony. And
No, you just play a bit of right-hand side and just come off the top rail. Yeah. I don't think it'd hurt to have a little go, do you?
well, I don't think you've got much choice anymore. The only other option is come off the top cushion, hit it from behind and get a snooker, but you could go in off it as well, which would be, well, disastrous. Another option, put this one back over the hole.
This is hard, though. You could knock this in, and if he does drop it.
Well, he's had a go. He must think this goes, Tony.
At the end of the day, if he thought that would go, why didn't he play it the last time?
And he's shaking his head. He's been in the same position here. Well, now he's got no choice. And if he can't make this yellow from here, you know he's going to be snookered. Because Darren Appleton won't have a finish. Assuming, of course, that he does hit the yellow and play a legal shot and still keep it over the pocket.
Well, I still believe he should have played this shot 4 shots ago.
30 seconds.
Still easier from back here with no pressure on us.
That's why you're the director.
Well, he's trying to put the 8 over the bag, and this is risky.
Foul.
Well, he's played it very well, but why pot the last ball, though? I still can't understand why bother potting the yellow if he couldn't get on the other one.
Well, he had a yellow over that hole earlier, and then he played one onto it. The moment he did that, he lost control of the pocket. And I
Well, he's
believe
shaking his
that
head.
was-
Has he left a gap?
No, I don't think there's any gap there, Tony, but you really, as Jim said, if he doesn't pot that yellow, he's going to be snookered for a long time. He's going to be snookered. Darren will just run this red right up over the top cushion, I think.
And each time that he does, he's got one shot to be able to get out his awkward reds.
Correct.
So
You play this up to the top cushion, snooker again. Of course, that red will pass inside the yellow at some stage if he's able to get the shot at it. So now the position is turned around entirely.
and simply because Carl Alexander wouldn't take this yellow and loosen it up when you suggested, Mick.
And like I said, it's pretty easy from back here. There's not much pressure on me.
Now let me ask you a question. Let's say that the players on the sidelines, the Welsh teammates, recognize that as you did. What if they said something? Is that legal?
Look, it depends. You can talk amongst your friends, but if you speak loudly enough,
Seconds.
if you speak loudly enough,
Foul.
it's a good shot there. If you speak loudly enough and the referee hears you and believes the player has heard you and recognises you as one of his teammates, then there is no question you will be fouled for coaching.
Sometimes it must be difficult watching then.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, and you really do learn over the years to keep your mouth as closed as you possibly can, but gee, as you say, it's tight. And there's so many friends up the back, further up, all talking about every shot. I mean, there's
30 seconds.
an awful lot of people there talking about every shot and all the options, and as a player you do overhear things, there's no question of that.
Well, no one quite certain how this one is going to unfold. But with a 5-2 scoreline, little doubt with which team this frame holds more importance.
Second visit.
Carl played a very good shot there. He's promoted the yellow over the hole. He's given himself some chance if Darren makes a mistake. I mean, Darren's got 3 reds that have to be got out of that pocket. And when he brings them out, he'll be taking a little bit of a risk. He has to hit them reasonably hard. Could go onto the black, or the white ball could go in off or something like that. But he's the one still with control of the table. He's going to be snookering again. He's going to be trying to get 2 visits with the balls in a good position for him to knock them out. Carl has to do is make certain that doesn't happen.
Might see him push the red near the yellow here.
He's doubling the other one back. I agree with you, Tony. I think if you could get that really close to the yellow.
He's done both.
Oh,
How'd you like that?
give the man credit. He's hung in here. He played a good shot when he played those reds onto the yellow. Pretty gutsy. The yellow could have dropped.
Well, one will be coming out straight away. And the 4 balls up there, then be 3. Now she comes, another snooker Darren's going to lay.
Second visit.
You'll see him play the red where the 2 are stuck together. Just drop the cue ball just below there. Just want to bring the cue ball at the bottom of the table because all Carl Alexander's going to do then is send another red back up into that corner again.
Or start putting his balls even. But the only problem with just touching these balls also is that if Carl can get one right close to one of those yellows, to that yellow,
30 seconds.
then it's going to make it very, very hard for Darren to get them out of there.
Well, now I'm going to put it on both of you. Who do you favor for this frame?
Well,
And what has to happen for each player to win it?
Well, if Carl Alexander can get the cue ball out in a second, he's going to try and knock in Darren up, and there's 2 loose reds, which will force him to go into that top left-hand corner to move the others. And then he'll be hoping that Darren knocks in his yellow and gives her 2 shots. Easy black.
Very similar to what we saw with the Keith Brewer-Keith Jones match.
Along the same lines, Jim, yeah.
I believe Carl's actually favoured here. He's got them pretty close. Darren can get them out, but if Carl can just continue to get these reds even closer
It's not only
to the
getting them
yellow,
out, Mick, it's getting them into a position where you can pot them as well.
have to have a little bit of luck then, don't
When
you?
he could smash those reds out, and then all of a sudden one of them goes down by the 8 ball, which is also the bag's cover down there,
Correct.
he's in trouble.
So, yeah, look, there's no question in my mind that Carl's favourite at this stage.
Darren Appleton can take another red out here.
And the other 2 do come out now. He can play the top one later on. He can play the top one to the top cushion. Off the top cushion, will slip the other red out of there. So he's certainly alive.
Could even have a go at a double. Just opting to take that ball out.
Second visit.
I think he'll play the ball in the middle of the table now. Knock it further up the table, basically just to stop Carl putting the red in the vicinity of where his yellow is.
Doesn't really matter what he does.
He still needs the 2 shots, doesn't he, to kick the 2 reds out. That's
Good
his
shot, though.
visit's finished now.
Well, Darren's a real chance now. He's only got 2 reds to get out, and they both do come out.
What is the length of this one? 3-0?
30 seconds.
That's better, yeah.
Well, this frame's been going for some while now. We're just nearing 20 minutes.
He's going to hit this red off 2 cushions and try and push it back up. Oh, he's potted it. Well,
2 visits.
it's a pretty good shot. Hasn't allowed Darren to get his 2 reds out, either of them out first shot, and hasn't allowed him a pot with his first shot. So,
Well, Mick, I was thinking about that earlier. If there's any way that he can just keep pocketing Darren's reds and getting him off the table, forcing Darren to have to come up to that yellow.
there's no question that was always going to be the case in the end, that he had to start potting Darren's reds. And each time he did it, he had to leave in a position where it was very hard for him to get the other ones out. As you said, with Keith's game last, doing the same sort of thing.
I know what I'm doing. I'm knocking his reds down.
Correct. And leave him as little as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you leave him where the white is now, he's going to get those reds out of there.
But if he could pot the red over the pocket now,
Leave him in a position where he can't pot the other one and get his white back down to here again.
exactly.
That's what you've got to do. You've got to pot one of the reds,
And I
maybe come back and sit on top of the other one if you can.
And he's got the chance again right here.
Well,
Well, that isn't what he wanted to do. He didn't want to leave that red on.
Now we're going to see some action, Jim.
Yeah, Darren's got to take his chance now.
I think he's got to bring the white ball back to around the position it was just in. As I said, the centre of
Horrible
the
shot
table.
by Carl
Bad
Alexander
shot.
there.
Yeah, if he can get it round to the side, left-hand side cushion, he can hit the red to the top cushion and knock the other one out at the same time.
Time running.
Seconds.
So the chance now has to be taken by Darren Appleton. He's got to get that. Oh, he's got the cue ball in a good spot.
And that's what I said.
And
The
now
left-hand side cushion.
playing into the right-hand red to try and get both of them into the open, and he has to trust a little bit to luck here.
Yes, as Tony alluded to earlier, he just needs a little bit of luck. Has to make certain that the reds are going back towards the right-hand side of the table rather than the left, where the black is down over the bottom left-hand hole.
Oh, how's that?
Well, I think he did that very well. There's a fair bit of control in that shot. It wasn't just all luck. And he's played this beautifully. Must give the man credit. Average shot from Carl to leave him on the first pot, but Carl's played very well in this frame too. Pretty good game from a tactical sense.
Well, you just saw the book right there. Carl Alexander and Darren Appleton providing the clinic. Appleton wins 6-2 to England.
So it's looking pretty good then for England at the interval stage. They lead 6-2. Emmett Toll, the South African captain, is with me here watching the action. It's been absorbing stuff, but 6-2, that's a huge deficit now for Wales to pull back.
It definitely is. I think Wales have got a hard task ahead of them. We're looking at a lot of intense matches that are going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
I unfortunately don't think Wales can make a comeback here. I hope
it's
that
a
they
big
do.
ask, isn't it?
It's a big ask for them. To go 4 frames in the lead in any World Championships is a good achievement for England, and it's a very, very tough task for Wales now to come through and try and win this
So
match.
in your book, England still remain hot favourites to retain the title?
England should win this final.
Okay, fine, there we are. That's the word from Emmett Toll. The word from me is we're going to take a short break. We're back again very soon when play resumes in this World Team Final. Welcome back to Blackpool once again, the Embassy World Pool Championships 2001. This is the men's World Team Final. We are at the interval stage, and it's looking good for England. They lead Wales in this final 6-2 at the interval. Emmett Toll is with me, alongside me, the South African team captain. Emmett, this is a big task now for Wales in this second session, isn't it?
Definitely, Wales are definitely become the underdogs in the tournament, and it's a big fight for them. It's a big task to come back. They can do it, but it's going to be a big task.
So they will have spent the interval telling themselves we can do it, we just got to believe. Let's take a check, shall we, on the changes, because remember, 8 frames in the first session, 7 maximum still to come. The players who've been sacrificed, if you like, Mick Hill has stood down for England, and Carl Alexander, the captain, for Wales. That's the lineup we've got coming up. And just briefly, Emmett, the final word from you. Wales can do it, but England more likely to succeed.
England, it's very hard to count them out of the tournament. They definitely will be on a very high now, 6-2 ahead against Wales. It's a hard task for Wales now.
And defending champions, they won it 6 times out of the last 8. It's looking good for England. Once again, here's our MC, Alan Hughes.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome back Team Wales and Team England?
So the first match in this second session, Darren Appleton of England against Nick Jones of Wales, and once again commentary from Jim White.
The long road back has to start here for Wales. Nick Jones versus Darren Appleton. Jones has been a pillar of strength for Wales throughout this tournament. He won both his frames in the semi-final action. He won his first frame here to get Wales off the mark. And now he will be breaking off to try and get him back on the road to recovery. Nick Jones, frame number 9, vital as everyone will be for Wales now. They can afford no more mistakes. A more important frame and visit Nick Jones might never see. Yellow in off the break. And if Nick Jones has his way, Darren Appleton won't even bother the markers here. Yellow straight in off the break. And you have to like England's strategy here. Darren Appleton was the last player at the table before the interval. They've brought him right back out again, knowing that he's going to be feeling comfortable with the situation. Whereas Nick Jones started things out for Wales, so he's been there, you know, cheering hard for the Welsh side for some time now, and to come right back out again, tall order.
30 seconds.
Well, the yellow's in a great position here for Nick Jones. Well, I really can't see any way that Darren Appleton's going to come to the table in this frame. Especially the way Nick Jones has been performing throughout this tournament.
Yeah, he hasn't put a foot wrong at all. Defeated the reigning world champion Jason Twist in his first frame. Jason never got out of his chair. He wants to show Darren Appleton that same chair.
30 seconds.
It's taking quite a long time because, I mean, these are quite easy. I think you can sometimes be too long over the balls, Mick. What do you think?
Yeah, when they're pretty easy, Tony, I think you should just go and get them. The slight problem is he'd like to move the yellow over the top left, then allows the one in the middle of the 3 on the left to go back into the same hole. And I think he'll probably play it now. That'll make it pretty easy. But yes, he's taken a long time.
Well, throughout the years,
30 seconds.
the Embassy World Championship, Team Championship has been dominated by England. Only on 2 occasions have they seen defeat. But Wales has been one of those teams that have helped them taste that. And if they go through to win here again, as 6-2 the scoreline currently reads, you'd have to think that they would. Be the 3rd year in succession. A race to 8.
Well, he's got to take this yellow into the right-hand centre. He's got to take that next. Drop the cue ball in the gap of the reds. Then play the yellow into the other centre. So that's the only way he's going to get down for the 8 ball, is off the ball into the top corner. Perfect.
Just wants to leave himself nice and straight on that yellow now. Slight bit of angle to be able to bring the cue ball down the left-hand side as we look. And that shouldn't be too difficult.
Well, he doesn't want to be on the left-hand side of that yellow, that's for certain.
So just a little bit of drawback here. Not much.
Seconds.
So it looks about perfect, Jim. Just bring the cue ball down to the bottom of the table now, and the black will be going in the bottom right-hand corner. And Wales will have stopped the rot.
This will also be 4 out of 4 for Nick Jones in the final series. It's a very, very good performance for his team.
Well, he didn't want that middle bump. That cue ball was going to be desperately close to that side cushion regardless, but this is a lot tougher than it could have been.
That was
Didn't cue that as well as he could have.
That was a loose shot, wasn't it? Well, there you see what presents itself to Nick Jones. It's a thin cut into the corner.
Well, this is going to be pocket weight. Of that you can rest assured. Either in or right over the pocket for Nick Jones here.
30 seconds.
Well, he missed it by some ways. The door ajar for Darren Appleton. And that's the first real exposed miss, unforced error that we've seen from Nick Jones in the televised stages. Couldn't it come at a more critical time?
Well, I've got to say that's probably the worst miss of the final. You know, the easiest chance for anybody to have, and I think if Wales had been, let's say, not so far behind, I think Nick would have got those, but I think it's the pressure of the situation that's got to him.
Well, I think what Darren has to do here is he has to try and force a mistake, because if for no other reason the red down near the black, he would like to be carrying 2 visits down to that red. Just because position to it, not necessarily that easy. All he's got to do is try and snooker him once and get that 1 foul to allow himself the 2 visits.
He may be positive. If the red passes underneath the black,
seconds.
then it's a shot for nothing. But he's played average position here. He wanted to be on the red going to the left-hand corner pocket, I think, Jim, and that's why you've called the safety.
Well, I'm just assuming that red doesn't pass bottom right. And you can see, in fact, it does, so quite possibly he might take the finish on here, Mick. Our overhead camera, to me, it looked as though it wouldn't go to the bottom right corner, so and that's why I thought he might try and extract the mistake, and given his position here, he might again.
Yeah, he still played very average positional shot just then, so this is certainly difficult. I can't really see him finishing from here. It's well, he needs 1 big shot.
30 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's leaving himself in a position where he's under pressure. He's got a pot now, and he's under pressure, and I don't think this is what he wanted. He wanted to be able to comfortably remove these reds without the risk of leaving the 8. And now this red into the center pocket.
Certainly nothing easy here, whatever.
And that was a real confident strike.
Playing this shot, taking the cube off the 2 cushions.
You think he's going to come back and across?
He's going to pot the red, bring the cue over to this side cushion, and then back down for his last red down there.
Must pot it. Can't afford to hit the jaws. The black will be on because he is going to leave the white ball right down the bottom of the table here.
And this has to be hit at a lot of pace.
What a great shot by Darren Appleton. Absolutely perfect.
He only needed the 1 chance. And a couple anxious moments for Appleton. Victory secured. And now England on the tip of victory here, wanting just 1 more frame. 7-2. It's been an awesome performance here in this final. And our reigning Embassy singles champion, Jason Twist, at the table to try and put England over the top. And who else would you rather have than the best player on the planet? He's up against Warren Hodgson,
Yellow balls nominated.
representing all the hopes of Wales. Well, Hodgson gets a look in. It's not an enviable one.
Well, it's an open table, actually, Jim, because he potted a red off the table, not a yellow. Nominated yellows. So Warren can actually now nominate, he can play the yellows, and he's got the same option Jason had, the yellow onto the yellow, and realistically they're all there, aren't they?
And that changes the complexion of this frame considerably. And quite an interesting story with Warren Hodgson. We learned that when he went out for his first frame, he had actually broken the ferrule on his playing cue. So he's borrowed a cue, gone out there, won his first frame, and he's playing with that borrowed cue here yet again.
I don't think he realises that was an open table, you know.
Open table.
Well, I don't know if the umpire, I didn't hear the umpire call at the time before. If the umpire hadn't called at the time before, that's a really bad call from the umpire.
I think the umpire called it.
Look at the well side, guys. Look at the well side. They're holding their heads. I saw Craig Reynolds put his hand up to his head. They realized it. What a huge mistake.
I think the umpire would have called it, but as Warren came to the table, the crowd was shouting, you know, encouragement. He probably hasn't heard the referee over the top of it. There's Christophe Castagnada, the referee from France.
Very good referee too. I'm sure he did call it. As you say, the crowd was yelling out, and that's...
And there you can see the look on their faces. They are sick.
Yeah, realistically, whether you hear the call or not, you should realise. I mean, as a ball player at this level, you should know.
Well, the lad there with his head in his hands was Keith Jones. He would be due to be on next.
Red ball's in play.
Come on, sort it out, sir. Come on.
Well, uncharacteristic miss there from
Unbelievable miss,
Jason
Tony.
Twist.
I've been watching this guy for years. I don't think I've ever seen him miss one that easy. I think he's a bit surprised himself.
Well, they really are in the comfort zone. 7-2 as we see the miss from Jason Twist again. But it's reds down in play now for Warren Hodgson, so he doesn't have the option of taking yellows this time.
I think you must have known with your first call, Jim. They were never going to be easy, because they're certainly not easy here. Pop the red, follow through, maybe get on the bottom one. The one nearest to the bottom cushion. And it's some chance of going off the yellow that's over the hole over there and opening up that bad red and the black. That's what he's looking at, there's no question of that. Choice, if he doesn't like it, he can put it over the hole.
Well, I think that's exactly what he's going to do, Mick. Going to try and cover the back there. You see there. There is room to pot this red, but
it's a hard shot, the one I called, playing it off the yellow. You
Yeah.
have to very fine. Probably wouldn't open up the black, but you would open up the red, I think. But as I said,
he's going to have to play percentage, really, in my mind.
30 seconds.
from that angle it looks a little bit easier than off the yellow than the other one. Just played my shot. It's a great tacking shot.
Very brave shot there, and it's just forged an opening in this frame. He's cleared the pocket for the red and the black.
New choices. You can stun off this red into the middle and get on the one up the top, or just roll it in, take the one in the corner, follow through to get on the one up the top for the black.
That red ball thought about it for a split second, didn't it?
He's attacking these balls though, isn't it? You've got to give the young man full credit under the circumstances.
This is a great shot. Watch the red ball just hangs there for a minute and then he decides to go in the pocket for Warren.
I think you have to feel as though he's going to be pitching an offer for this cue when this finishes. Imagine coming out with a borrowed cue and knocking them in like this.
Can't believe it. Somebody else's cue in a world team final. It's
And
played very well.
And he's on the verge of winning both his frames with it.
Well, let's hope he can do so. He's played very, very well here under the whip. Well played.
Well, after he made that initial error at the start of the frame by not taking the yellows, we didn't think he was going to win the frame, but what a great chance for Warren Hodgson.
And down goes the 8. Warren Hodgson helps Wales stave off elimination here in this men's team final. Handshakes all around. The mistake made early, but he had the last shot at the table. And with the scoreline at 7-3 now, Phil Harrison from England and the man at the table, Keith Jones, breaking off. And the white ball in off the pocket. And obviously, A glorious opportunity for Phil Harrison here to secure victory for England. England took 6 frames in a row. From 2-1 down, they went 7-2 in front. And the only way that Wales is going to be able to sleep well tonight
30 seconds.
is if they can repay that favor and take the next 5 frames on the spin here.
Red balls in play.
Reds aren't going to be easy. Phil Harrison just checking the availability of the red below the black. Looks like it passes bottom right. And for me, if he can remove the 3 reds at the top end of the table, then if he takes the red to the bottom right, the one just to the right of our picture here, quite possibly he can drop onto the red into the center pocket, and that might open things up considerably.
Well, he's actually looking to go into it now, I think, Jim.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I mean,
I liked
for me,
your
Mick,
option.
it seemed as though had he removed the 3 reds at the top end, especially the one on the left, would have afforded better position into that red. He wanted to be straighter.
Well, I believe every red was on without having to move anything, actually.
I agree.
There was one going to the bottom left, the other one went to the middle, and the one you were talking about went to the bottom right. And yeah, he took a risk there, and you take risks at this level. Sometimes they don't pay off.
30 seconds.
And now he's got a lot of work to do because he's just nestled that black up against the yellow, and that will have to be developed.
And from the camera angle I saw a minute ago, I don't believe that red that's lying on top of the yellow goes to the pocket either.
Well, we're going to know very, very soon. There's the red. Difficult to tell.
I think it probably does go because it's past the yellow.
Definitely touching, though, Mick.
Yeah, definitely touching, but I think it probably is on.
But the 8 looks as though it may be available into the center, but certainly neither bottom corner. Huge positional shot right now for Phil Harrison. He's got to finish on that red. A touch on the yellow would help.
What about the plant, Jim? Might just be able to creep through the gap.
Well, it didn't look like he was going to be on that at all, Jim, but certainly he is. Can he stun back for the other red in the corner pocket or up the top?
I think he can hit the other side of the red, and the yellow will just guide it into the corner pocket.
I don't know what he's going to do now.
This will be a better shot, won't it?
He's got to get that back end of the cue up in the air because the only place that 8 is available is to the left center.
And how he's going to do that without actually letting the cue touch the yellow and foul. It's going to be a good shot.
He's just confirming what he might be looking at, the possibility of a double as well. Instead of trying to bring the cue ball back a couple inches, try and hold it right there possibly and double the 8 into the opposite center.
Once again, it depends on how close that black is to the yellow.
Well, that was never going to be easy.
He wasn't even on the 8 anyway, Jim.
Go on, Tiger.
Well, Keith Jones now with it all to do, all remaining yellows.
I wonder if the last frame is going to prove to be the hardest to get. And Phil's shaking his head. He knows he had half a chance. Keith Jones is developing the yellow and putting Phil Harrison in a nasty snooker.
It's a good snooker, but a risky shot. I mean, that red is right over the hole. If he happens to hit it, he's going to get a shot at this black.
What about knock the black up by the red in the top corner?
Also an option. I just believe he'll go round past the yellow on the left-hand side with a lot of right-hand side. And if he happens to pot the red, he'll get a shot at the black.
Just dip back into your memory banks, fellas. Remember the shot Phil Harrison knocked in to win his first
30
frame?
seconds.
The long black that he potted? Very similar to this if he gets the red.
I believe that Keith would have been better off going then.
He's got the red. So here we go. A very similar shot that Phil Harrison knocked in when he won his first frame in round 1. He's looking at it right now to give England the title, and they are on the edge of their seats.
Little smile there from Phil Harrison.
I'm sure that's going through his head right now. He'd have to be pretty confident with this, Jim, you'd say.
Will he roll it as he did the first one?
I think he will.
No. Close, but no cigar. But that was for the title. A little thick. He was up off the cue a little quicker that time. Easy to smile when you're still 7-3 in front, though. Would he be smiling if it was 7-6 and he missed that?
No, I
don't think he was, no.
Well, a lot of pressure on Keith, but I really do believe he's got to take the bull by the horns and get out of here.
30
He's
seconds.
really got to attack the balls as young Warren did to get the frame before. And he's half going. No, he's playing off it for a snooker tourney.
Yep, Cuba at the top of the table. He's got the snooker.
He's doing whatever he can to try and extract that mistake, and with it, the 2 visits. He wants that insurance policy.
And look, it's a good shot, but I just believe giving guys of this level extra chances. It's amazing. They'll pull something off and you don't get another shot and you'll really be sick with yourself because you didn't have a go at the damn things. They're there. You're good enough. You've got to be able to pop them at this level.
30 seconds.
Well, he's just checking the total snooker, which obviously it is. He's going for... That was an incredible effort there from Phil Harrison. So he's trying to swerve it into the side cushion. Checking the cue ball back. Wasn't far away either.
Well,
but he's given her 2 visits though, Jim.
That's right. Now the chance for Keith Jones to take out these yellows and keep Wales on track. So much pressure out there, though. And he's never really looked confident, has he?
He certainly hasn't looked confident, but with 2 visits he should do these easily. Yellow up the top. If this goes in, well, he's going to eat them, I think.
Go on, kid.
He keeps looking away. I just don't think this could possibly be easy enough for Keith Jones right now.
Well, I'd be asking for the jigger here. The rest of the world will be asking for the rest. But in Australia, we call it a jigger, and the umpires here have not understood us once.
No, that's a dancer in Ireland, don't you, Mick?
Yeah, well, it's a few other things around the world, I'm sure.
Yeah, you ask for a jigger in Canada, they'll bring you a jug of beer.
Thing with a prong on it, we used to call it.
Well, this time his cue ball's a bit further up the table. You can stretch and reach this one.
And still holding that second visit.
Then he won't have to use mixed jigger. White's its feet.
Go down.
You're just about back in from here, I think.
Give him the 2 visits, just about.
Well, I don't know really. He's taken an awful long time just to knock these balls in. I know it's one mistake and he's gone, but when Keith's a professional and
He really hasn't done this easily, has he? Even now, the angle's not good.
And it was an easy finish as well.
Yeah, it's just hit it a bit more confidently and get up on the balls in the middle pocket. This would have been simple. Now the white's going a fraction far. I mean, it's still simple, but Any more you give yourself under this sort of pressure, little shots just you miscue or you're going off, or
I don't know what that's all about. That's very, very fortunate land there.
Well, it
He
couldn't have
just hit.
worked.
That was a hit and hope.
couldn't have worked out better, could it, Tony?
Well, still, he doesn't want to miss this. The yellow could jaw and go in behind the black. And he hasn't. Never did need that second visit. Keith Jones keeping Welsh hopes alive. 7-4. And still, that last frame proving elusive for England.
First frame, England to break, leading 7 frames to 4.
And Chris Melling will be breaking off here. 7-4 the score. England wanting just one more frame. A ball down off the break.
Red
Make that 2 balls, Jim.
One yellow, one red, both into the same pocket.
Once again, nothing easy here. 3 reds and 3 yellows and the red on the bottom cushion,
30
causing
seconds.
a few problems.
As we all know, Chris Melling can pull out
red balls in play.
some ridiculous finishes. He's the last person in the world you want to see on an easy finish, because they'll be knocked in inside 20 seconds probably.
Yellow balls in play.
Very sure-handed potter, Craig Reynolds. Always one of the players that Wales counts on very heavily.
That's a lovely shot.
Beautiful little shot, develops the awkward yellow, and now the finish on.
Well, Craig's certainly gone out there with attacking in mind. I think Wales have done very well here by taking that option a couple of times. They were a bit negative early, and now they've said, well, we're a long way down. Let's have a go at these damn things. We've got nothing to lose.
Gone after the awkward yellow right away, Mick.
Pots this, stuns back for the other one in the middle. This is all over if he can pot this ball.
I wouldn't say all over, but close to it. This is a tough shot though for Craig Reynolds, and it's a must for Wales that he gets it.
And now got to bring the white back into the center of the table. Good confident pot here. Wales know they can't afford any misses now. Just got to avoid contacting those reds. And that's what he had to miss.
I can't believe he didn't stun back off the yellow before for this yellow first.
On with
the
you,
other
Mick, all day long.
And just
He
look
knows.
at Craig Reynolds. Yeah, you don't have to tell him, do you, Tony? He's feeling the weight of a country right now.
What is he going to do with this besides going off that red? Oh, he's trying to play the yellow off. It's not a bad thought process, I suppose.
And Chris Melling will love this. Chance to win the World Championships for your country.
Whatever happens, it'll be very quick, I think. He's actually going round to have a look. I don't think I've seen him do that before.
Pretty straightforward here for Melling.
Now, is he going to just kick this one down the rail, or is he going to pull back? Neither.
The red's down. He's making it look
Different
easy.
class.
This 8 spells victory for England. And once again, for the third year running, England are the men's team championship here in Blackpool. They have won it 7 of the last 9 years. The Embassy World Crown once again go to England. A dominant performance here, 8-4 win over a very game and valiant Wales side. But you really do have to hold your hats off to England. Every year they come, they are the team to beat.
Well, it's been a brilliant performance by England, a brave effort from Wales after the interval. Weren't quite good enough, and somehow appropriate that Chris Melling, probably the best of the English players, should clinch it. Emmett Toll, what did you make of that?
It was a phenomenal finish by Chris Melling. I think England well justified in winning the World Championships. They got a great side. No disrespect to Wales. Wales also made a nice comeback and a nice fight back. Unfortunately, they were playing against players with a high quality, and England are all top players. And I'd say congratulations to England. They've done the business.
Absolutely, Emmett. Thank you very much indeed. A lot happening down there. I think Alan Hughes is preparing to talk to some of the players. Let's cross now to him.
Right, well, ladies and gentlemen, both the team captains are here. First of all, Carl, it slipped away from you, 2-2, and then all of a sudden 7-2. But it was a mini fight back, and in fairness to the lads, I mean, you've got quite a new-look team here over the past 2 years, and they've done really well to get to the final.
Yeah, we were a little under pressure. They're a great team, and I thought our boys might have performed a little better, but very proud of them, and I think the future looks good for us.
Well, it's your second World Team final, and of course the last time you played England in the final, you beat them. This is a little bit of revenge for you, Lee. 9 times now in the England side in the final, but this was the last team that beat you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to get our own back, but they are a class side, and we know when we come to the final, if we've got Wales, we've got a tough match. But they are a great side, and I know our side really do respect them. So a big hand to Wales. Well done.
Well, Lee, I look along here, I look along the lineup, and it is a very strong, powerful side, and I imagine you're very proud to be captain of this team.
To be captain of this team is probably the most important thing in my career anyway. So I mean, these are the best players in the world without doubt, and they always do themselves proud, especially on the big tables when the pressure's on them. They do the business every year. We've lost twice, so what more can we say, really? What a great team.
And so you are. Ladies and gentlemen, both captains, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, gentlemen. Right, well, now we're going to ask the presentation party to come forward. It consists of Graham Blashill, Managing Director, Imperial Tobacco UK Limited, accompanied by our Tournament Director from English Pool Association, Mr. George Harwood. Ladies and gentlemen, straight away the championship trophy goes to England and their captain, Lee Kendall. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make the presentation to the individual presentation. First of all, to the runners-up Wales. Would you come forward, gentlemen, and receive a lovely trophy?
So these are lovely scenes as England celebrate their moment of glory. They've retained the Embassy World Team event. They've taken the cup in real style. Some nice words too there from Lee Kendall, the England captain, about Wales. Very gallant, very worthy opponents. In the end, not quite good enough. So that's just about it from us. A final word of thanks to Emmett Toll, who's been with me. Emmett, good to see you. We hope that you'll be back again better than ever next year, maybe.
We will definitely be fighting on, and I hope to see you next year.
Terrific. Thank you very much indeed for that. That's it from us. We hope that you at home have enjoyed it. And in the meantime, it's congratulations once again to England in this Embassy event. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, from all of us here, it's goodbye for now.